Hey, hi guys, Thundi here, and welcome to my hangout about Windows 10. Yes, you're reading that correctly, and yes, it is not a typo. Microsoft announced Windows 10. We knew Microsoft was going to have an event today in San Francisco, and we expected it to be Windows 9 or maybe a completely different name, but they decided to go with Windows 10. So basically, they just leapfrogged and told us we're going to 10 directly. And that's pretty much it. Didn't give too much details on why it's called Windows 10, but they did show a lot about the software. Now, the technical preview will be available October 1st tomorrow. Not exactly sure what time, but there is a link down in the description of this video telling you where you can get it. It's called preview.microsoft.com, and you can go ahead and sign up and get ready to download the technical preview, which will be available tomorrow. From what we know from rumors, it should be about a 4 gig file, and you should be able to install it. Best thing, now this is just a word of caution, if you're going to install a technical preview of Windows 10, then make sure you do that on either a clean system, or you're going to basically use an older system which you're ready to wipe everything off and install Windows 10. So what's new in Windows 10? Yeah, so Microsoft has decided to name it Windows 10, which is very interesting because one of the interesting things about Windows 10 is that it covers the whole gambit altogether. It really covers devices from 4 gigabytes all the way to 4 inches all the way to 10 inches. So it's really the whole idea of threshold really covers that range. And Microsoft also released some images where we can actually see some of that in there. And let me just share my screen so you guys can see that image there, what they actually put off of how Windows 10 basically covers the whole gambit altogether. So hold on 1 second, guys. I apologize. Let me just share my screen. And also the Q&A is open, so basically jump in, ask questions, chime in if there's anything else. So this is Windows 10. This is what Windows 10 covers. It's basically one product family, one platform, one store. And if you're looking at this image here that I'm looking at, you can see here there's a TV. So basically it goes from 4 inches to 80 inches. So it will work on, all those big, massive 80-inch TVs, touch TVs. Also, you can see here the Xbox next here. You can see the Xbox right here. And then you move over to a desktop, and then you move over to a laptop, a hybrid device, as well as maybe a 13-inch tablet. And then when you move over to almost like the 8 inches smartphones, they all just have live tiles. And that's pretty much it. And it looks like there's a switch from about 9 inches and up. It goes to the new desktop mode that you basically will see. So what's new in Windows 10? Go to my next image here. So Windows 10 has the new start menu. And let me just find that image for you guys, and I will show you in a second. Stop sharing my screen. So you do have a new start menu. We have a question here from Marco Hartman. I have Windows 8.1. Can I install it without losing files? No, you will lose every single file that you have there. So you cannot install it without losing files. There's just no way that is possible for you. So just to let you know, do not try and install on a system which you want to keep files on. You will actually lose files off that system. So but thanks for asking that question, though, Marco. Much appreciated there. So there's a new start menu in Windows 10. I have the image here. I am going to share it for you so you guys can see. And this is your new start screen. So we don't have that dual start screen. You have your desktop and your Metro. Gone. Not anymore. What you do have here is basically your new start screen, where you can see the start button and brings up the old start menu you find in Windows 7. You can, and the search option is right there, so you can search for applications for whatever you choose. You can also have mixture of your regular apps and Metro apps, and you can actually pin your Metro apps in this area. This can expand a little bit out more, so you can pin your Metro apps here if you choose. That's a new feature with the start menu. We've seen some video from it in the past, so that's something that a lot of people know, and you can definitely see there. So That's a new feature, and that's something that'll be interesting to see how it actually pans out if people will accept it. So it's Microsoft merging and kind of going back and saying, okay, look, a lot of people weren't sure of how to use the Metro tiles. So let's go back and let's actually show them some stuff with the start menu and use that to bring them back into Metro, so to speak. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Now I want to show you some other screens here. So besides having the Metro app there, let's go ahead and look for our next Windows screen. And then we can share that stuff. Hold on a second while I find my next set of screens here. All right. Let's go back. Apologize. All right, so let's share screen again. What do we have here? Okay, so besides you having that start screen, let's go back to screen number 3 right here, which you can see. You now have the ability to have create multiple desktops. So think of it as like your tablet. So your tablet has your Android tablet has multiple desktops, right? You can pin applications. You can now create multiple desktops for work functionality. So you can actually go through this button right here is actually a button you use to create multiple desktops, and you can actually create a desktop for work. You can create a desktop for home. You can create a desktop for a specific project, which actually is nice, especially if there's that differentiation between work and home. So especially since this event was for enterprise, we're really focused on enterprise users. It makes sense because now you have a desktop. You have an ability to actually create multiple desktops for different business functionalities. So you can have one for home, one for work. You can also have a desktop for maybe a specific part of the business. So you can actually do that, which is a nice feature, something that it's not just creating multiple desktops so you can just scroll through, but it's actually making desktops for different work functionalities altogether. So that's also a very nice feature. And then you can also have it just as multiple desktops to carry different things. So there's some dual functionality there with that. Let's go to the next screen. Let's see. So besides the multiple desktops in there, you can also pin different applications. So basically, you know how I'm going to look for the image again so I can actually find it properly for you guys. But with Windows, Windows 10, I was about to call it Windows 9. With Windows 10, you have the ability now to actually go ahead and basically have 4 applications run on the screen at the same time, and that's the new multitask feature that they have built into Windows 9. It's a pretty cool feature. What it allows you to do is basically, if you see my screen, I can actually just go ahead and just drag to each corner for applications. Or what it actually does, and you can see in the video, I have a link for the video with Jeff. Can't pronounce his last name right now, from Microsoft put up. If you have a bunch of applications open on your screen, once you drag an application to corner to basically pin to one side of your screen, it will give you options which other applications do you want to pin, which is nice. So that's also something here. And let me share the screen here so you can see. This is from Engadget, who was of course at the events. You can see that there. So you have the option to actually go through cycle between the multiple different applications that are available and there for you. So that's nice, and that's that quick toggle button I talked about earlier. So you can actually use that with Windows 10. Again, your new start menu where you can customize and put as many things as you want within the start menu, so that you can have all of those Metro apps. And then SteelSeries engine, Metro apps built into it and attached, and you can see it expands more and a little bit outwards more for more applications in there. So that's something nice, and it's a nice feature altogether. Now, they didn't show anything on small devices, so we don't know how that will look like. Now, some of the features that you would find in Windows 9, I'm just going to rattle some features up for you. So the start menu, which we just talked about, is back. Brings up that customizable space for your favorite apps and live tiles. You can actually put it in there. Now, your live tiles will also run on your desktop mode, but also you can be resizing whichever size you want. So you can actually resize your live tiles. Now, everything runs in Windows. Your apps, your app store from the app stores, as well as your regular applications run runs on Windows desktop. Like I said, you can do multiple desktops, create desktops for different purposes, projects, switching between desktops is very easy. I'm just going left to right with different desktops, so you can actually just switch easily. But I'm sure for businesses, they can actually set stipulations on how to switch between certain types of desktops. You've got a new task view now. The new task view button is a quick switching between open files and access files. So that's that little button I showed you, which is next to the search. And also the search, you can see there's also a search right next to the start icon itself. And then you've got snap enhancements. Like I mentioned, you can snap 4 applications at once quite easily. So that's also something that is nice, and I think they've done a good job there, because the only way you could do that, you could do that with applications. Certain applications will help you snap things on your screen. So let's see, we have a couple of comments here. This is from Lumber Milljack. This is a 180-day evaluation copy. Ream option still working. I have no idea. They haven't mentioned that. Microsoft just says that you'll be able to download it and run it tomorrow. When will Windows 10 come out, and when will it be on the Surface Pro 3? This is from IJ. So Windows 10 officially will be announced. The consumer version will be announced in April next year build. I'm not sure exactly when it will launch, but that's when we'll announce. And so I'm sure at some point you'll be able to download and install. Pepe London says, yes, you can download it tomorrow. You can probably install it on your Surface Pro 3 tomorrow. I kid you not. You can actually probably do that, but just get ready to know that everything is going to be wiped, and you might have to do a lot of stuff there to make it function altogether. So did Windows 10 basically bring back the start menu? I'm curious. Yes, it did. Why starting? Okay, all right. So again, like I said, guys, you can jump in and just leave questions in the Q&A. We do have the Q&A for you, so you can actually leave questions in there. But this is a very interesting dynamic that Microsoft has brought up. Now, there was word that we were going to see Cortana in notification screen. We've actually seen videos of a notification center, which wasn't shown in any of the videos. It might be with the release tomorrow. It might be something later. The way Jeff talked about it is that this is a continuous build, so they really want to make this a very continuous process. Now, they started this with the Windows 8 preview also, same thing. But I think with this, they're trying to make sure that they get feedback as fast as possible. So there's a feedback app which you can actually use to give more feedback to Microsoft in what they're doing with Windows 10 there. So that's interesting, and it's nice to see that they're trying to do that. Again, it's very interesting that the name is Windows 10. Just because for me it kind of makes it's very interesting altogether. It's actually called Windows 10. Right now I'm looking at a video from Engadget here because of course they were at the events, and they're showing some of the live tile functionality and the taskbar. I can probably share my screen to see if you guys can actually see that here. So let's see if we can actually effectively share the screen and see if this will play correctly for you. So that's the taskbar showing everything running. And it shows you the orientation and which application it is. So what sizes those applications are actually shown in the taskbar itself. And then from the task menu, you can go to virtual desktops also, so different red desktops. You can see at the bottom there, he was switching between different desktops altogether. So he went from a desktop, I think this is running AutoCAD, I think, and then another desktop does something else for him. So you have those different things. Now, if you go back here, this is just showing the start menu, so you guys can see that. And of course, you can mess around with the applications in the start menu. You can resize it too, so you can actually resize the way the start menu looks. Okay, so your start menu can go all the way across. So it seems that you can resize it and go all across, doesn't matter where. And again, your Windows, your Metro apps or your One UI style apps can be resized. As you can see, they can be resized in any format that you want there. So that's interesting to see. Let's see what else we have here in this video. Let's see if we have the snap menu, if we can find that. So yeah, it looks like it's very extensive, at least in some of those multi tasking avenues that Windows is quite known for altogether. So yeah, it looks like that does a lot there. And let's see. It looks like so they don't have that aspect of the video where basically a snapping application. But what's really cool is once you snap, it gives you the option on one side of all the things you can snap in there. So it's nice. It's interesting. Microsoft has a lot to educate people on what Windows 10 will be, if it's something that they would be people would be worth jumping into. So we have here from Islam Abdullah. He says, "Hey bro, 2 questions. Is it worth downloading now and trying out, or should I just wait? And where am I from?" You have to guess where I'm from. If you can answer, yeah, that'd be fun. But in terms of your first question, if you're enthusiast like me, go ahead and download it. But again, you must be warned. It will wipe out everything in your system. It's pretty much a fresh install on your system. It'll be fun to check out and try. Just be prepared for a lot of issues and errors that will arise from Windows. We're running Windows 10. So that's something that you should take note and understand and know. But if you're an enthusiast and you want to try it out, if you have a spare system to try it out on, sure, go ahead. A spare laptop, a spare tablet. I would love to run it on a tablet to see if I can. I don't know if it's possible. If I can. I'm slashing said, doubt very many people are going to pay for another upgrade. The upgrade from Windows 8 to Windows 10 is free. So I'm slashing. It is a free upgrade from Windows 8 to Windows 10. Microsoft came out yesterday, and one of Microsoft VP said it's a free upgrade. From Windows 7 to Windows 10, yeah, I don't think it's free, but I think that might actually be pretty cheap. Depends on what Microsoft wants to do with that next year. So I don't see that being an expensive thing for most people to do, according to what Microsoft has planned from what they have for Windows 10. So yeah, just your thoughts. What do you guys think about Windows 10? Right now I'm just going through different things I've seen from different places. And one of the things Microsoft has said, just going to read and quote this way, said, Windows 10 will run across an incredible broad set of devices, from the Internet of Things to servers, enterprise data centers worldwide. Some of these devices have 4-inch screens. So basically Windows 10 will start from Windows Phone. So all the phones will be running Windows 10, and some will have 80-inch screens, all the way to this big, massive, like touch screens that you see, and some don't have screens at all. Some of these devices you hold in your hand, others are 10 feet away. Some of these devices you probably use touch pen, others mouse and keyboard, others control gestures, and some devices can switch between inputs. So this is them bringing that vision of the vision we had with Windows 8 and how it's supposed to be a cross-platform device altogether, and that's what it brings to the table. So it'll be interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see how that actually functions altogether from Microsoft. But so far, it looks interesting. I think what we will see and we'll realize is that Microsoft is trying to bring that one OS ecosystem together so that most people will be able to use it in the most friendliest and easiest manner possible, altogether. So I think that's the thing that they're trying to do. We'll see if it works well. I'll say, you know what, enthusiasts, go ahead, try and download it tomorrow and see how it functions for you. But it looks like on a device like the Surface Pro, it will look like a Surface Pro 3 will look like a desktop. When you get to say an 8-inch device, it is going to look more metro. So we'll see how that works. What I want to see is also things like the new Office altogether. Office, if it's going to be a blend mix between metro and lifestyle. And how that would apply with Windows 10. So what I want to know, guys, is what are your thoughts on Windows 10 that Microsoft has finally shown us its new operating system, basically Threshold, which basically will run from devices from 4 inches to 80 inches. Will also run on the Xbox. So everything that Microsoft deals with is getting Windows 10 altogether. And I think it's going to be an interesting time for fans of Microsoft, fans who like the operating system and what they bring to the table. So if you guys have any questions or any comments or any comments about Windows 10, leave your thoughts. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think about Windows 10? All I've told you that Microsoft has put into the table with this device. We know, and just to kind of go through some of the new things, at least the 6 new things we know that Windows 10 does carry, is that it does have a start menu. Start menu is back, and your live tiles can be set up in your start menu. The start menu can expand throughout your whole desktop. Everything runs in Windows desktop mode, so there is no Metro side anymore. It's strictly on the desktop for you there. You can create multiple desktops for different purposes, for projects, for business, for work, things like that. You can find files faster with the search button now closer. A new task menu button, which is right next to is basically the Windows button, search button, task menu button is right there. So you know, if you want to do a task menu, you use that to X out applications. So it's easier now. So think about the way we used to do Control-Alt-Delete. That's the new Control-Alt-Delete there for you. And then you've also got the snap enhancement. So you actually snap 4 things on your screen. This was only done by software before. Now you can actually third-party software. Now it's built into Windows in there, and it allows you to pin. It actually automatically, it gives you this nice new UI of pinning software. Delco S says, I am right. I am right if Windows phones like Nokia Lumia 1520 will get to Windows 10 for mobile. It is possible. I don't see why not. You know, in terms of the hardware, you know, it is powerful enough. I think it should be fine. I don't know the details. I don't know how Microsoft is going to work around that. But from what Microsoft said, from 4 inches to 80, the 1520 is a 6-inch device, so it's in that category. The 930 is a 5-inch device. Same thing as the Icon also, as well as the 830 and 735. So we'll see how that all pans out. Delco S, thank you very much for that question. And we'll see how Microsoft decides to bring you know, Windows 10 to such devices. I think that's going to be the very interesting part of Windows 10 is how it hits you know, the mobile phones. He says, this is from Dark Shadow M99. I'm curious to see how gaming performance is. I am too. A lot of people complain about Windows 8 with gaming performance. I had no issues. I play Steam. I have my Steam back there on Windows 8. So a lot of people like, you know, Steam complain about Windows 8 and not making a Windows 8 client. To me, it's fine. I like that. I hope more companies will make Metro style app for Windows now, because you can resize and do all things, because it looks better to me. So I had no problem with Windows 8 in any of my gaming. The only game that I had issues with was Watch Dogs, just because it was poor performance, but not because of Windows 8 itself. But we'll see, and hopefully you should improve some things with the new DirectX coming out and stuff like that. Froze says, would it be free if you bought Windows 8.1? Yes, it's a free upgrade from Windows 8.1 to Windows 10. It's free, completely free upgrade for you. So you shouldn't have any problem altogether. I'm slashing. Is this streaming just going to be about Windows, or can I ask other stuff? You can ask some questions if you want to, but this is mostly about Windows. If there's anything relevant, I'll try and answer it for you. Just try and answer everybody else's questions here. Also, finally, they do something for free. This is from I am slashing. Let's see, anything else? Jacquees A Portal says, looks way better than Windows 8. It's just basically, remember, it's one part of Windows 8 look, and the other part of Windows 8 look is now condensed and thrown into the desktop mode altogether. Rod Johnson says, will this mean a definite update for the 1520 and 1020, i.e. 1525 and 1025? I hope so. You know, we kind of talked about that in the last week's hangout, Rod, is I would love to see a 1030. A 1030, basically a 930 slapped with a 41 megapixel camera, because the hardware there is good enough. And that would be nice to see if Microsoft actually does that, but I think that's something that's going to come down the line a little bit in there. So I don't think that's I think that's something that's you know, that's going to happen. But it'll be interesting to see if that's the case altogether. So it's nice I would love to see a 1525 or 1530. I would love to see a 10 and 1030, but I hope so, but I don't think that's the case. I think if we get a 1525 early, then no. If we don't get it till next year, which is kind of pushing it almost 2 years, then definitely we'll see with the US altogether. So any more questions? See if we have any more questions here, guys. Just doing some responses. Let's see. Okay, so download tomorrow. Start putting this back. Yeah. All right. So I think that is it here. I don't think we have any more questions from anyone out there. Please lay your thought. Oh, there you go. I see no questions in there. More questions coming in here on the Q&A. So what happens to the Surface RT? LOL. No Windows 10 loads. That's interesting. Microsoft didn't address that. Right. What basically this event was literally more focused to enterprise, even though we can run this. But they haven't addressed it. They said they will address the consumer build next year. So basically, they just want us to test and use and showcase, and we'll see. So we have no idea how RT, I have the Surface 2. I don't know how that's going to be affected by this because it's a 10-inch device, and it looks like from that little screen I showed earlier, those 10-inch devices should technically have be running on desktop mode. But I have no idea. So that's from Carrie Price. And then let's see. Second one from Wayne Glasgow. If I partition my 1 terabyte laptop drive, would I be able to install the preview and run it on that partition without problems? Yeah, technically you should. You might run into some issues with that, but I don't see why not. So for instance, when I'm doing because you partition it, it's just going to be a separate hard drive. It doesn't look as a separate hard drive, so you just be running a dual operating system. I'm running on my desktop. I have one desktop that I actually have an extra hard drive that's nothing installed. I'm going to install Windows 10 on there tomorrow, and I'll showcase that for you guys so you guys can see. But that's the idea here, and I don't think you'll have a problem. But let me know how it goes, Wayne. Anyway, either like message me on Twitter or shoot me a comment on the Windows 10 video. But I'd like to see if you run into any problems or if it just runs smoothly for you. Here we have one from Rod Johnson. Do you think Windows can continue not allowing Google services to integrate? I don't think it's a message. The issue is not allowing Google services to integrate. I think when you're probably talking about on the Windows Phone side, I think Microsoft and Google have had issues back and forth where Google wants certain things. For instance, Google wants ads running on YouTube applications and things like that on Windows Phone, and Microsoft doesn't allow your consumer. So there's something called advertising ID, which allows advertisers or companies like Google to track you much better. On Windows Phone, it's off by default, I believe. So that's something that it's more or less, but it's beef that's been going back and forth between both of them. So I'd say there's equal blame to be shared between Microsoft and Google on that one. Rod Johnson, I'm not sure it's just a Windows thing. So we'll see how that goes. But let's see if there's any more questions here. Did they talk about Cortana? No, there was no talk about Cortana. And I think the reason why there was no talk again because this was an enterprise event. So there's no talk about Cortana, no talk about the notification center. We've seen the notification center on leaked videos, so it's there. Cortana has not been mentioned, and I can see why. I think maybe Cortana would be more of a consumer reveal, especially given by now in April, Cortana has been improving month to month. So we should see huge improvements in Cortana by then, where you're going to see much more on how that integrates, especially on the consumer side. Having Cortana on the business side doesn't even make sense, at least for business consumers. They don't care about that right now. So I think on the consumer side, that's probably where they would do that, and it would make sense and all together. So you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see, you know, how people will react to Windows 10. All right, guys. I'm still taking questions, so please shoot your questions out. Just if not, I am going to round up this video. We've talked about it. We've talked about the 6 different new things. I'm just going to show the images again on Windows 7. Some of the images that we have. I'm going to share my screen, but while I'm doing that, if you have any more questions, please fire away. So this is the multiple desktop screen here. You can go to multiple desktops. You can see there are about 5 desktops in total here, or 4 with the 5th one about to add it. Joe Sheehan says, would anyone want to update to the preview now, since Windows 8 is so bad, assuming the preview is not even out yet? Okay, Joe, I disagree. I don't think Windows 8 I don't even think Windows 8 is bad at all. If you ever use Windows Vista, then you know what bad is. Actually, no. If you ever use Windows ME, you would definitely know what bad is. But I don't advise anyone to go ahead and try and use that on a regular basis, because there's going to be bugs, there's going to be issues. It's a beta. They're trying to Windows 10. It's basically a Windows 10 beta. They're trying to basically work through things so that to see how well it functions. So I don't advise anyone to try and do that, but you know, that's something. If you want to be my guest, go ahead and try and do it if you want to. So that's the logo, Windows 10. Again, the multiple desktop here, and again, this is just showing you what this is Microsoft's image here of what everything would be. And it's a one product family, one platform, one store. So your app store runs everything. Ali Esran, this will be free, right? This is a free upgrade for everyone who's running Windows 8 8.1. So if you have Windows 8 8.1, you're going to get a free upgrade. It's just basically going to be a free upgrade for that. If you're running Windows 7, they haven't stated what they will do, but it is a free upgrade for Windows 8. I will not be surprised if it's not cheap, maybe a $40 upgrade or something like that for Windows 7 users. So okay, free upgrade. There we go. Would anyone want to? Do we answer Joe's question? The great John 88, he says, I don't see why you don't have more subscribers. You have a great channel. Thank you very much, the great John. Just keep watching, guys. I'm always here. I love to answer your questions, help you out with tech stuff, and go through stuff like this. I mean, I don't know all the answers for Windows 10. I'm not an expert on Windows 10 yet, at least. And we're trying to work through what Microsoft has here. But I appreciate the comments, and thank you just for watching and spreading the word on the channel. But as I was saying here, with Windows 10, Microsoft really looks at it as one product. So we thought, they talked about Threshold, and Threshold really is that core underlying thing where the core system of Windows is one core. They talked about it in the press event today, saying that they want Windows to be easy for people to code for on different levels, whether it's be applications for mobile side or tablets or things like that. So like you can see in this photo, you have a big screen TV. And usually those are used on like TV stations and presentations and things like that. But then you have small devices. You can see on the very far left, that's almost that's just almost like the I've forgotten what it is, the name it's called again, but it's almost like a circuit, like a small builder's board, and that's a really small device. And then they talked about there's some devices that don't have screens, and then you have a 4-inch phone. You could call that a phablet right there, and then you now have, say, like an 8-inch tablet, and then there's a 10-inch tablet. Now, to me, this is where I think there's a change. It looks like a 10-inch tablet to me, and that looks like it's running desktop. Here it looks like it's all live tiles, and then from 10 inches and up, you get a desktop, the new Windows 10 desktop mode. So that's what I think we see here. A couple more questions. Will this update be available for Mac users who are using Windows? People using Parallels? Yeah, if you run it Parallels, it doesn't matter. I mean, again, if you're going to join now, the great John 88, if you're going to run the preview coming out tomorrow, it's a fresh install. It will wipe out every single thing, I mean, vanish completely. I don't know whether drivers will be supported yet for something like Parallels, but you can definitely try it out yourself and see if it works. But just note that it will wipe out everything. You cannot save anything on your current system. So just to let you know there. Carrie Price says, do you think more developers would be more interested in doing apps on Windows 10 now that everything is universal and Microsoft has 1.5 billion users? I don't see why not. I mean, I think this is a good opportunity for developers now, especially if Microsoft, I think what is Microsoft has released tools that helps developers do the develop apps much more easily. You know, there's always the same, developers are always lazy. That's just like a general joke saying, because developers want to basically keep things a certain way. In terms of like, you don't want to spend too much time. You think about it. If you make an app for iOS, then you have to make an app for Android. Then you want to make a Windows app, but then you have to make your app for Windows PC, Windows laptop, you know, scaling there, and then you're not thinking of like Windows Phone. You're like, oh God, it's just too many, you know. So if you have the tools on Windows where you can literally make the app for Windows, and it's scalable, and it's just basically a matter of just scaling across from 4 to 80, then, and you have the right tools that do that for you quite easily, then that becomes a really, really big thing altogether. That I think a lot of people will appreciate. So let me see. Okay. So Islam Abdullah says, my main concern with upgrading to Windows 10 now is regarding drivers for PC. When I upgraded to Windows 8 preview, I had many problems because of graphics cards. Yes, that is true. So again, this is an enthusiast upgrade. You know, you have to work it out. You might have to revert to old drivers. You might have to find drivers on the web. So it's that kind of problems you would face altogether. But if I am correct, and I think you have current hardware, and what Microsoft likes to do is current hardware, the drivers from Windows 8 drivers should work. You know, that's what I did. And that's what I did when I did that Windows 7 to Windows 8 technical previews. Windows 7 drivers work. So I think that's something that Microsoft will do. You'll find that a lot of Windows 8 drivers will work for this for Windows 10 altogether. And yeah, that's I think that's where a lot of people might face some issues. Islam also says, the best I got regarding where I am from, Thandi, is Ask Thandi E episode 6 at Liberty this week. We got to chat with the North American CEO. No more details. Yeah, well, keep guessing. All right, guys. So I think that's pretty much it. Asking, okay, so these are the World of Warcraft SteelSeries Siberia Elite headsets I'm wearing. I'm actually visiting Sam. I'm in New York here, so I'm actually using his headset. It's a pretty cool headset. You get it from SteelSeries.com, so definitely check it out. That's for the great John 88. So any more questions, guys, before I sign out? I'll probably give maybe another 5 minutes to questions, and then we'll wrap it up, and then, you know, we can discuss later on. We'll probably discuss more this weekend on the weekly hangout. But if you have any more questions about Windows 10 that you want me to answer, any thoughts, any concerns, just chime in, leave your thoughts, and leave your questions, and I'll definitely help you out with that altogether. If not, I would say, well, looks like no one's putting up any more questions or any more comments. Okay, that's good. I guess I can officially sign out and call it a day on this anyway today. Well, I just refreshed. Okay, so we do have a few more. This is from Dark Shadow M99. A few more questions are coming in. So you will be dual booting and showing a tutorial tomorrow on how to dual boot OS, and then another video on 10 preview or install 10 off camera and then showcasing. I'm going to do as much video as I can tomorrow on Windows 10. So my first, I'm going to show you how to install Windows 10, and I'm actually going to show you my install. Going to be my video installing Windows 10 is basically dual boot video. So my system that I'm going to be installing Windows 10 on has Windows 8. I have an extra hard drive on that system, and I will be installing Windows 10 on that. It's a very easy process. Literally, all you have to do is when you restart your computer, you basically add it, depends on what your hotkeys are for that. If it's F12 to select boot device, and then boot from your flash drive. So you have to make a flash drive with Windows 10 ISO key. I'll show you all that process. I've done that before. I'll link a video to that, how to actually use an ISO key for that. Once you select the drive, you now have you select your boot drive, which would be the flash drive that has Windows 10 in it. Then it will start the install process, and with all Windows install process, it asks you which drive would you like to install Windows 10 on. I'm just going to select my second hard drive that literally is empty and install Windows 10 there. So I'll do that for you. So basically, then I'll just show you how to basically dual boot the OS. It's a very simple process. And then I will also give you my first look at Windows 10 preview and all that stuff. So maybe 2 or 3 videos for you tomorrow. That's from Dark Shadow M99. I'm not sure what time tomorrow, but it's probably depends on how long it takes me to download. And I'm also heading back to Boston from New York. So not sure what time, but I'll try to do it tomorrow. Throughout the whole day tomorrow. Ali Ersan, sorry if I mispronounced that. Do you think this is Microsoft's last chance after Windows 8 catastrophe? Will Macs ever take over if Windows doesn't please the customers? No, this is not even Microsoft's last chance. So let's put it this way. Let me actually explain to you why sometimes believing headlines is not actually the truth. So the PC market has been in decline, right? And there's been where the PC market is dead. And also a lot of that has been attributed to Windows 8. Now, the PC market in 2013, had a 14% decline. Macs, as in Mac computers, had an 18% decline. They actually had a higher decline than PCs. I mean, more people are buying tablets and stuff, but also with more people buying tablets, more people are realizing they're not being more productive on tablets. You don't have Office, you don't have full applications. It doesn't feel like you can go truly in depth. You can do little things, you can't do massive things altogether. So there's no catastrophe because even though Windows 8 has not sold as much as Windows 7, it's still the highest. It's still one of the highest selling operating systems out there, and it's not something that a lot of people are going to switch over to Mac PCs. Like I personally will never switch to a Mac because it's not the system for me. Again, it's all user preference and choice. And as one user initially quoted, said Microsoft has 1.5 billion customers. This is a matter of people who use Windows PCs. So I don't think it's going to change. I think this is Microsoft's way of correcting an issue in terms of user acceptance. I really like Windows 8. I don't see a problem with it. I think Microsoft did a bad job in relating how Windows 8 functions for you and how they actually set it up for a lot of users, rather than it being a terrible piece of software. Because I find absolutely nothing wrong with Windows 8 because it runs all my programs, it runs everything without issue, and it works. So for me, I personally don't see an issue, but I understand how people can find it hard to actually get into Windows 8 because of the way when Windows 7 became a very mature platform, it truly has been on point. Even Windows XP too. So it's one of those things that will go there. So we have a couple of things here. Vox Magna 2 says use VMware. Yes, you can use VMware or other types programs. When will it be in beta? The beta is coming out tomorrow. We're on time. Max Wade. Maurice McKee said, I was thinking about getting a Surface Pro 3 and I really like the modern UI with the swipe gestures. How will Windows 10 gestures work with touch? So since it's all desktop now, the charm is still there, but they said it's going to evolve and change in some way or fashion. So some people want to see some more images of Windows 10. I have a few images. I can show you some more from Engadget. Let me just go ahead and share this. There we go. So again, this is the family of products. One product family, one platform, one store. Goes from 4 inches to 80 inches. So you can see here, it looks like live tiles for phones and tablets, and then it looks like from 10-inch devices and up. I could be wrong. This could be 12. Who knows what size? But when you get to hybrid devices, laptops, desktops, Xbox, you get Xbox is the only one that also has a tiled experience. But from when you get to PCs, you get desktop, the new desktop experience, so to speak, there. And then, sorry, cancel. I'm getting back the wrong way. And then you have here your multiple desktop modes. You can create multiple desktops here so that you can actually have different desktops with different functions. You can actually have a desktop strictly for work if you want to, and one desktop for a project. So you do a specific project. So in my case, I could go desktop number 1 is home. Desktop number 2 is video editing, because I edit videos all the time. Desktop number 3 is travel. If I was to say this was my Surface, for instance. Desktop number 4 is my gaming desktop. That's where all my games are, and I loaded it. That kind of thing. So you can do that if you want to. If you also see here in the lower left-hand corner, you do have the start menus back. That is your search button, and this is your quick task button. So basically, Control-Alt-Delete, you just click on that, and that does it for you. And that helps especially on the tablets if you're using the tablet, instead of you trying to find a way to actually shortkey it. The great John88 says, no Windows 9. No, they just jumped and called it Windows 10. Also, what do you feel about the touchscreen laptops? To me, they feel like tablets, so I don't like them. I love them. I absolutely love. See, that's the thing. I like a lot of things that move things forward. One of the tablets that hybrid devices I like is the Lenovo Yoga 2. And I want to see what Lenovo does with the future pros, like say the Yoga 3 or whatever the case may be. I like that because it allows the user to at least have the option of having a tablet and not spending so much money in buying the tablet again. It's fine if you want a smaller form factor tablet, that's different. But it also brings a different element to it. So for me, those are the things I like altogether. The great Johnny says, well, actually, I've never used touchscreen. You should try using it. I found myself, because I use touchscreen on my Surface Pro 3 a lot, that whenever I use I went to visit my relatives this weekend, my cousin was asking me to fix something on her laptop, and I'm like touching the screen. I've become that useless person now that does that. So, all right, guys, that is it. I have to roll. Thank you very much for jumping in today. I appreciate all the questions. Tomorrow, just stay tuned. I don't know what time of the day, but I will have as many videos as I can showcasing Windows 10 for you. I was about to say Windows 9, Windows 10 for you in the best way possible. Altogether, I just want to see if there's anything else left here, if I want to answer quickly. But all right, so that's it, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All the questions, all the comments. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll have Windows 10 videos for you, about 2 or 3 videos for installation. We do a walkthrough of Windows 10. Maybe also just showing you how to install and do things like that. So if you have any questions, any comments, please leave it down below. Do subscribe to the channel, Booredatwork, top right-hand corner of your screen. Or if you want to ask me any questions directly later on, just follow me on Twitter. It's Booredatwork. Send me questions there. I will reply to you much faster on Twitter than anything else. So just follow me on Twitter also. Subscribe to the channel, top right-hand corner. Thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment.